Hey everyone, I'm pumped to be here. It's Friday, ready for the weekend, and ready really to get into this topic today. Three things I want to talk about is conformity, information, and GSR. And we'll, we'll get into those in a little more depth in just a minute. But had a conference call today. We do it every Friday. I encourage you, if you're interested, you want some inspiration, some motivation, every Friday. It's a free call. Some powerful minds on this call. Just call and listen. You don't have to talk. But we talked about, the most valuable commodity in life is information. Information changes situations. So I encourage you to get out, step outside of the box, read a book you wouldn't have normally read, research something you wouldn't have normally researched. And there's so much power in information. Information, again, it changes your situation. So if you're wanting to change your situation, best thing I can do is recommend is to learn, to get more information, to empower you. And the other thing we talked about quite a bit is the best commission in life is to reach someone's heart. And that's so true. Frank Sagasta, he really instilled that in me because it's invaluable. The relationships, you can't pay for friendship. It just doesn't happen. But two main things that I really want to hit on as far as giving the viewer something to take away from this video. And I try to do it. I try to just not just talk, but two things that I feel you can really take away from this video and apply to your life and see instant results is find out your why. Because when you know your why, when you feel your why do you get up early in the morning? Why do you want to grind? Why do you want to go extra hard? That's going to motivate you to get up extra early in the morning. And to me, it's my wife, my family, my kids. I want them to have a better life. And previously, I always thought my why was for me. It was selfish. I wanted this or I wanted that. And it was a lot easier to sleep in when your why is about you. But when it's about other people, when it's about your grandma, you want a better life for other people, it's hard to hit that snooze button when you know people are counting on you, and that's truly deep down your why. So that's one. And the second thing that you can apply to your life is tell someone your goals, because with that, I feel you're going to be held accountable and you're going to follow through. It's going to be a lot easier to follow through with that goal, and it's going to be a lot harder to give up. Maybe your goal is just to get up early. Tell someone that's your goal. I want to get up at 5 a.m. I want to get up at 4 a.m. every day this week, this month, for the rest of the year. And that's your accountability partner. So those two nuggets of information, I think you can take away and apply to your life today and see instant results. So let's get into the meat of the video. And I just want to briefly talk about God being inside of you. And you can do anything you want. I'm telling you, God is inside of you. If you set your mind to it, it can be done. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen in my life, other people's life, people around me. Just believe in yourself, and it can be done. And if your heart's in the right place, your prayers are going to get answered. So keep grinding, keep pushing. You are going to make it on the other side. So conformity, briefly, just want to talk about conformity. And society places, these pressures on us to conform. At work, conform. In the school system, conform. And you got to break that conformity. You got to think outside the box. They put these kids in a classroom and they have these standardized tests. And that's supposed to show, excuse me, your level of education. And it just doesn't, to me, I don't think it's right. And you can see the education system in America is failing. And just think about it. boys, for instance, they need to be outside and exercise. It's crazy that once you get to middle school and high school, they stop going outside. And boys, they need to release that energy to be able to focus in the classroom. So, it's not working, and just because they say so, they being society, they being the government, the administrators, just because they say so, it doesn't mean it's right. And that kind of leads into, this GSR, this galvanic skin response that I really want to get into. And they don't teach this in school. I'm going to talk about 2 experiments that really touch on that. Dr. William Braud, he did some experiments on distant mental influence. He actually did 323 experiments on distant mental influence, and 78 of those were where he hooked people up to this galvanic skin response machine. And I encourage you to look up galvanic skin response. It's another fancy word for the polygraph test, the lie detector machine. And he hooked these subjects up, 78 experiments. He would put one subject in a room, hooked them up to this machine. He put someone else in another room. And they had this video camera that was recording this person that was hooked up to this GSR machine, galvanic skin response machine. And they had no clue that they were being watched periodically. But at that exact short interval that they were being watched, there was a spike in that machine, in that galvanic skin response. So, again, what does this mean? I am not totally sure what this means, but I encourage you to research for yourself. And to me, it kind of lends itself to there's more to what's going on in this world. It's more than just the physical world. And Albert Einstein, he said it. Everything in life is a vibration. Atoms, electrons, neutrons, they're vibrating. This desk in front of me, it's actually just vibrations of atoms. And another example of an experiment was done by Dr. Cleve Backster. And he's huge in the space. He actually developed a standard for the lie detector test, the polygraph machine. And he did an experiment on a former NASA scientist. His name was Dr. Brian O'Leary. And he had Dr. Brian O'Leary give a sample of his saliva. He took some white blood cells, put them into a test tube, hooked up this galvanic skin response machine to that saliva. That day, Dr. Brian O'Leary had to drive 300 miles to pick his son up from the airport. And throughout that trip, there were people cutting him off. There was different things going on where he was upset, he was angry. I think there was an altercation at the airport with his son, and, they were able to match up that exact time of those situations where he was upset to that saliva in the test tube 300 miles away. It showed up as electrical activity in his cells. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold, so I apologize. But there was a jump in that galvanic skin response every time he would get into a situation where he was angry or upset. So there's extremely statistically significant results here that show there's some correlation on some level that's non-physical, that we cannot see. So again, I encourage you to research these experiments. There's a lot more coming next week. And again, hopefully this inspires you to do something great and to realize that it's not just about the physical world. There's so much more going on with the mind, with the soul, with the spirit, with the vibrations, the mind. We can do anything we want. We can control anything we want with our mind. Positive thoughts, prayers, They're so powerful. So encourage someone today. Touch someone's heart. Again, if your heart is in the right place, your prayers are going to get answered. So keep grinding. Keep being a positive influence in this world, and you're going to see amazing things happen in your life. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Matt Barrier, Mr. Nobody series. Scientific inspiration. These guys are reputable. A NASA scientist, world-renowned scientist doing experiments that you don't hear about in the classroom. Why are they not teaching this? I don't know. But now you know. So spread the love, spread the word, subscribe, share this video. Let's change the world, y'all. Have a blessed weekend. I'll talk to you next week.